You cannot stop the music. This year's Color of Music Festival is going virtual. Joining us with more on this Spotlight Music series is Lee Pringle, founder and artistic director for the festival. We are also joined by pianist Kyle Walker, who is at his keyboard. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Lee, it's wonderful to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you all.
Goodness, the last time we got to talk to you, it was in studio. Of course, things have changed a lot in the last year.
Indeed.
But it looks like you're still managing to put on a festival, even though it's virtual. Can you remind everybody what the Color of Music Festival is all about?
Well, the Color Music Festival was started in 2013 in historic Charleston, South Carolina, to honor the major contributions that individuals of African ancestry have contributed to the classical music genre.
Why was it important to bring attention to classical musicians?
Well, people of African ancestry have been in classical music since its origins. And I often say that at the time when the first Italian opera was formed, the Africans were creating their own classical version of music, but we didn't have the church to promulgate what was known as what we know today, opera. So there's this huge deficit of talent, like my colleague Kyle P. Walker, who's in New York, who really just want the platform. They go to the same conservatories, but there are some limited coveted spots. And so our platform is to give them an opportunity to do what they've trained to do.
Definitely. And Kyle, as someone who has studied the piano his entire life and who went on to conservatory, can you tell us what drew you to this instrument and just what your feeling is when you get to play in front of an audience?
The feeling when you play in front of an audience is, especially in an in-person audience, is an out-of-this-world sense of energy. It's like a dialogue between yourself and the audience. It's multiple people that have come there to contribute to the music. So that's probably what drove me into a career in music in the first place. Was this sort of adrenaline rush. There's so much time and preparation that's put into the practicing and the rehearsals before putting together a performance. And in this situation, it's a little bit different because we don't have that same energy from an in-person audience. But luckily, with the greatness of technology, we're still able to have a similar sort of dialogue in a slightly different setting.
When you first put your hands on the keyboard, did you know that that was going to be your instrument?
Absolutely. I think my father came up with a nickname probably around 6 months of my when I was a baby. He called me Piano Man. And then it stuck because I would always, and Lee mentioned church, I would always come home from church and I would try to imitate what it was that I heard the church pianist and organist playing. And that just kind of developed into trying to learn how to play by ear. And eventually my parents said, well, okay, we should probably get him involved in some piano lessons. And so I went to our neighborhood piano teacher, who is still living today. She's probably, I don't want to out her age, but she's probably in her late 80s, close to 90 years old now. And she's still teaching piano lessons to young neighborhood kids in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which is where I grew up.
And it's a testament also to the power of the arts, isn't it? Because personally, I had a ballet teacher who was teaching classes up into her 90s, if you can even imagine. Wow. And so, Lee, when you talk about just the arts and keeping the arts alive in the way that you do, and then yet seeing it being chipped away in our school system, I mean, that's just got to be disheartening.
It is. Music educators are the most appreciated, I would say teachers of the arts are some of the most underappreciated people in our communities. They give up their evenings, their Saturdays to help mold this being and take us to places through compositions, or in your case as a ballerina, to areas of the world that we could, possibly never visit in person, but we can go there artistically. So I think, music in the schools is an important thing. And we have an education and community engagement team that partners with all the 3 counties in the area to make sure that kids, in particular of underserved communities, have access to what we do.
And Kyle, you also teach piano. You've got a wonderful setup there. but you're able to still bring music to students, even though it is virtually in these days. But with the process for you, having once been a student yourself, I guess once a student, always a student, but then now you are the steward of music to future generations. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the differentiation between being a musician and being an educator is a very close area. I mean, you can't really be a performing artist without carrying the role of educator as well. And it's not just to children; it's to adults, it's to people much older than you. And this is something that I feel as though I'm never going to retire from. That's sort of my commitment as a musician, is that till the end of my life, I'm always going to share this music that's grown very dear to me. And I feel like it can open up dialogues for people to have conversations about things that they might not ordinarily talk about through this art that we all can commune around.
Most definitely. Lee, final question for you. Can you just remind our viewers how people can join in on this festival, where they can see the musical performances?
Yes, they can go to our website, which I'm sure you're going to have on your page, colormusic.org. The festival will run virtually from our virtual concert hall from February 3rd through February 7th. And there's a matinee that Kyle and his colleague Anyango Yarbor Davenport, who you've had on your show several times, will be performing this wonderful arrangement by Igor Frolov. It's George Gershwin's Porgy and Bess, and it's his fantasy of Porgy and Bess. And it's a great Sunday matinee piece to enjoy virtually. So I hope everybody will join us.
Fantastic. Kyle, will you do us the honors?
Absolutely. I'd love to play a little bit of it for you here.
Thank you.